Hi everyone, it's Lindy on here from Pink Whisper Designs. Today I thought we'd make this fun little party favor box, and we're going to be using lots of products from Lawn Fawn. So I'm going to need this die here. This is the Goodie Bag die from Lawn Fawn, and we're going to need to die cut 2 of these. So I've cut some Strathmore Bristol Smooth cardstock, and this is a nice heavyweight cardstock. And I'll go ahead and flip that around so that I can get 2 die cuts out of this one sheet of paper. So I'm going to tape that down with a little bit of purple tape. And again, I'm using the Strathmore Bristol Smooth 100-pound cardstock to do this. So I'm running it through my Platinum 6 Spellbinders die cutting machine, and it will fit in there. And then I'm flipping that die around so that I can die cut that second panel. Now I die cut some extra ones off camera because I will be making some extras for myself later on, but I'll show you how I put this together. So now you can see it has those score marks on it, and we're just going to put some purple tape right along the score marks. I'm lining these two up side by side because I want to do my stenciling, and I just want to have to stencil this one time. So my stencil will fit nicely across both of these panels of the goodie bag. So I want to make sure that I mask off anything other than the front and back panels of my goodie bag. So I'm going to go ahead and position that tape down. And then I'll just add some tape just in those little bit of open areas here, right in this area and up on the top left there a little bit. So now let's do some stenciling. We're going to take this cute little stencil. This is the Lots of Hearts stencil set from Lawn Fawn, and we want to line it up. So I'm positioning it in the right-hand corner here. So along the right side of that panel and along the bottom score line of that panel. And I'm just lifting it back up just to show you. You want to make sure that you have that Lawn Fawn logo facing up towards you. And then you'll know when you position your second stencil down that it's in the exact same positioning. So now I'm going to grab my Picked Raspberry Distress Oxide ink, and I'm using my foam applicator tool, and I'm going to start with this color. And then we're going to be blending in some more colors here. So I'm just going to randomly pick a few little areas to add some color. And then what I'll do is come in with the shaded Lilac. And I'm going to overlap where I've already stenciled, where that Picked Raspberry is. I'm going to overlap a little bit of color there. I want to blend these two colors together. So if you're going to do this technique, you do want to pick some colors that will blend together nicely. So that pink and that shaded lilac will give me a really pretty color. So now the next color I'm going to grab is the Salty Ocean. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to take that and start to blend into the purples and a little bit of the pink. And again, you'll see that we get a beautiful combination of colors here. Now I'm going back to that Picked Raspberry and just adding a little bit more color here, just blending that in a little bit more. So you can keep going back and forth here with your colors until you get that shading and that blending that you like. So now I can remove the first stencil. Now I'm going to come in with the second one and fill in those open areas. So again, I'm looking for that Lawn Fawn logo, which is right down at the bottom of the stencil. I'm lining it back up in the exact same place. So along the right-hand side of that goodie bag, and then along the bottom score line or the purple tape, because they're basically in the same positioning. So I can go ahead now and do the exact same thing I did before, the same type of blending, and fill in all those open areas. So once I've done that, I can go ahead and remove my stencil, and you can see this beautiful background that we get, these little cute little hearts. So now I can remove my purple tape for now, but I do want to clean this off because we do have some more masking to do. So I'm going to lay it flat on my glass medium mat, and then I'll just spray that with a little bit of water from my Distress sprayer. and wipe these down. I do like to reuse these sheets of purple tape. So this way I can easily reuse it. You just want to make sure you remove any of that excess ink so it doesn't transfer to your next project. So now I'm going back to that purple tape and lining it up again at the bottom score line, and I'm covering the left-hand side of that panel as well. So again, we're just adding some shadowing right around the front of our goodie bag. So anywhere else you need to mask off. So I'm going back to my foam applicator tool and I'm just going to apply a little bit of that shadowing all the way around. Now I chose to do this edging in the blue because it's going to match really well with our little Rice Krispie treats. The packaging on those is a really pretty blue, so I'm sort of trying to match those two together. Now I've got this adorable little stamp set from Lawn Fawn. And this is part of the brand new Valentine's collection. And this is called the Seriously Awesome Stamp and Die Set. So I'm going to grab those little smiley faces and I want to stamp them inside those little hearts that we created. Now you can also use them to stamp onto that little cereal bowl, but I thought it would be cute to add them to these little hearts. So I'm using my VersaFine Onyx Black ink. This is a permanent black ink to do my stamping. And I'm just, again, there's two different little smiley faces. So this one kind of has its tongue out. And I do want it to look like it goes off the paper as well. So I'm stamping some of those right off the edge of the cardstock here. And then I'm just going to switch those little smiley faces and do this second one. And this made me think of that the cereal is just kind of floating around in the background here with these little smiley faces. So I continued filling in all of those little hearts that I thought were large enough to be able to put one of these faces on. So I didn't do them all. I just did randomly here and there. So now that we have those all set, I'm going back to this same set. And there's a little sentiment that says yum. And I'm going to stamp that in between all of these little hearts. So this creates a really fun and easy background. You could just do this for the front of a card and then just add a sentiment and it would make an adorable little card. If you have to make a lot of cards, this might be a really easy way to go. So now I've got some score tape. This is the 1/4 inch score tape and I'm going to add it to each of those tabs. And this is a super strong adhesive. You do want something really strong here to hold your box together. And then I like to press it out with my bone folder. It just makes it a lot easier to remove the backing on the tape. So now once I have that done, I noticed I had a little smudge there, so I'm using my Mono Sand Eraser just to get rid of that. And it just easily removes any ink that you have, and then you can just brush away the excess there. So I'm heat setting this really quickly before I do my folding, just to make sure that everything's nice and dry. And then I'm following the score lines on this little goodie bag and pressing those out with my bone folder. Now the sides of this little bag will have a gusset fold. So you're just going to encourage that fold just a little bit by just pressing it with your fingers and just gently getting that started. So now I just want to put a little tape on one of these sections here at the bottom of the bag. So I'm just going to put it on this side. I'm putting again that nice strong adhesive. And then I'll remove the backing and I can glue these two pieces together here. So I'm lining those two rectangle shapes up together and then I'll press that out again with the bone folder. So now I can go ahead and attach all these tabs all the way around and just lining that up right along the edge of the bag. And I do like to reach in with my bone folder and just make sure I press that out, just to make sure that everything is attached nice and securely here. So now you can just push in on those sides and that bag will fold nicely. So I'm adding a little bit of that ink right around those edges that I glued together there. So now for the sentiment, let's take the outside in stitched scallop circle stackables, and we're going to take that second largest one, and I'm running that through the Spellbinders Platinum 6 die cutting machine. So now let's go back to that same stamp set, and here's where we're going to grab the sentiments and that little bowl of cereal. And here I'm just trying to lay out where I want everything to be. So that little sentiment at the top says, no, seriously. And then at the bottom, it's going to say, I think you're awesome. And then I will want that bowl of cereal. We're going to stamp that separately and die cut that separately. So I'm just using it to position my two sentiments here. And that top one I want on a little bit of an angle. So I'm going back to my VersaFine Onyx Black ink, and I'll go ahead and stamp that. Now I raise that sentiment at the bottom up from the bottom of the circle because we're going to be cutting that away. I'm just going to create a straight edge right along the bottom of this scallop, and that'll line up with the bottom of our goodie bag. I'm going back to that salty ocean and just going to add a little to the edges of this just to tie everything together. Now going back to my Mini Misty stamp positioner, I'm going to go ahead and stamp that little bowl of cereal. Now I'm going back to the same three ink colors we used before. So that would be the Salty Ocean, the Picked Raspberry, and the Shaded Lilac. And I'm just placing some of that color down onto my glass media mat. And then I'm using my Zig Clean Color Real Brush pen. This is the blender pen to pick up that ink. Now you could use a water brush here. That would work really well. But I always feel I have a little more control with the blender. It's not as wet. So I can just keep adding my layers of color here and adding my shadowing. So I'm just adding that shadowing along the edges. And I'm not introducing another color. I'm just going to add more layers of that same color to get my shading. And this is really easy to do. And then I'll go in and color in the cereal in the blue. And then I'll color that little spoon in the Shaded Lilac. So this is just some really simple coloring. And again, I just wanted to tie those colors in with the background that we created earlier. So now I've got the coordinating die. I'm going to go ahead and attach that with some purple tape and run that through the Sizzix Sidekick machine. So that's going to get positioned in the center here, right below that top sentiment, and I'm going to pop that up. I'm using some Scotch foam mounting tape to pop that up a little bit. So now that we have that all set, I can attach it to the bottom of my gift bag. I'm using my Tombow Mono permanent tape, but you'll see a little bit later on, I did decide to pop that up. I did put it flat on the bag, but I didn't end up really liking that. Now these are the little Rice Krispie treats, and what's really cute is they have a little area where you can sign to and from on that little heart on the bag. So you could use your permanent markers to do that. So that's really cute, which really helps you not have to include a little gift tag because you can sign it right there. So now I've got my Pinkfresh Studio Essential Jewels mix, and I grabbed some of those little purpley colored ones. They're kind of like a bluish purpley color. So I'm using my Lawn Fawn glue tube, and I'm going to go ahead and glue 3 of these on here. So I picked a small, medium, and large size, and that's what I really like about those little gems is you get all 3 sizes, and you can see that you get so many beautiful colors. But I thought these would be just add a little bit more sparkle and dimension here. And then I'm using my Wink of Stella glitter pen, and I'm adding a little glitter to each of those little pieces of cereal there. Now here's where I removed that from the bag and decided to pop it up. So I just lifted it off the bag, added some foam mounting tape, and I'm going to position this. I just thought it looked a little bit better with some more dimension to it. Now I've got some white twine, and I will list and link all of these products down below and also on my blog. So if you're interested in any of these, everything will be down below. Now I'm just taking a piece of this Doodlebug white twine, and I'm just going to tie a little bow at the top here, and then I'll cut away any excess. Now you could certainly add a little tag here if you wanted, but I think this is really cute because again, you can sign right on that little bag inside. So I thought this stamp set was so cute and really lent itself well to these little Rice Krispie treats, since Rice Krispies are a cereal, so technically it is a cereal. So I really hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please hit the like button and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you don't miss a single video. As always, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. Take care. Bye-bye.